Okay, we're going to do a video about books and the do's and don'ts of books. So, and this is about writing. So, you want to keep the pacing smooth by listening to yourself reading it. And I'm going to tell you a joke. I told my old classmate at our 10-year reunion that I'm a writer. Oh yeah? Have you sold anything yet? And he says, sure, my house, my car, all my stuff. Okay, do write every day for 1 to 2 hours or more. Find time somewhere to write down poetry or a memoir or just stories. Okay, how did the writer pop the question? He proposed. Do invest in Grammarly because it's a really good program, and I invested in it, and I'm not regretting my action at all. What does a writer hope to get in a Christmas cracker? A Pulitzer surprise. Do get a spelling dictionary if you can find one. Amazon doesn't look like they have one right now, unless you get the Scholastic one, but that one's more for little kids. My friend from Prague is a writer. He likes to use spell check. Do join a writer's group or start one up yourself. It's the best thing you could ever do for your writing. Doesn't matter if you write poetry or a memoir or stories. Doesn't matter. They'll always give you really good feedback. And you got to have a hard shell when you join a writer's group. You can't let them, when they critique you, you can't take it personally. Did you know how Lord of the Rings could have come out a lot earlier? Only problem was no one knew what the writer was Tolkien about. When you're writing, you want to get plenty of sleep. What does it take to become a writer? A job. Do take long walks to think. Common synonyms of unemployed: writer, blogger, and activist. Do bring a notebook and pen with you everywhere for ideas. Why do writers always feel cold? Because they're surrounded by drafts. Do start a journal. Why do some writers have a hard time graphing equations? Because they spend too much time with the exposition. When you're in the editing stage of writing, read it out loud so you can hear any places that you stumble and fix them. What do you call a writer who feels like they've been born in the wrong body? Transcribe. Okay, I'm going to get into the don'ts now. Don't procrastinate. Dyslexia didn't stop Mark Twain being a great writer. He didn't even suffer from it. Don't get distracted by Facebook and other social media. A BuzzFeed writer walks into a bar. 95% of Americans were shocked to find out what happened next. Don't be impatient. What did this single writer say to his friend? Pros before hose. Don't plagiarize. What did the pirate say to the writer? Arrgh, I am hooked. Don't get discouraged. Whatever you do, don't get discouraged. What happens when a BuzzFeed writer becomes an electrician with no experience? What comes next will shock you. Don't hop heads. In other words, don't don't go into one person's thoughts and then go into another person's thoughts, because that will confuse your writing. And it will confuse your writer's group. They won't be able to understand what you're trying to write. A lady comes to a writer house. Hey, how's your book writing going? Pretty well. I'm up to page 69. Wow, what are you writing? Page numbers. Don't be passive. Why does my mystery story writer insist upon mixing additional crushed stone while laying the foundation? Because the plot thickens. Don't change tenses in the middle of a story, because that will confuse people. What do you call a well-slept, well-fed writer? A content writer. Don't forget to end your story, whatever you do. Some people just don't put a good ending on it, and it just doesn't really have a good ending. So try to put a really good ending on your story. It'll be noticed by editors, it'll be noticed by publishers and agents that you have a really good ending on it. Why was the failed writer unable to use a pencil to make another book? Because it was pointless. Don't act envious of other people's successes. Being a writer is enjoyable, but the job of editor is more rewarding. Okay, that's the end of this video. Thanks for watching, and click down below and subscribe. Thanks, bye!